The night feels heavier than usual. The air itself carries tension, a silence that isn't peaceful but watchful. Somewhere near you, a decision is being made, a decision meant to shift your ground before you even notice. Your name has been spoken in a room you haven't entered. Not with praise, but with strategy. The plan is quiet, subtle, built from envy dressed as logic. Someone believes they can move you out of the picture without ever touching you directly. But what they don't understand is that light listens louder than whispers. Every secret they speak vibrates through the walls, and destiny has already begun recording it. Stay. Don't move. Because what is meant to trap you will soon expose itself. They are using charm where honesty once stood. Smiles have turned into tools, and conversations are stitched with hidden motives. You felt it, a shift in tone, a glance that lingers too long, a pattern that repeats when you're not watching. They are preparing something under the surface, using influence as weapon and words as smoke. Their goal is to remove your stability quietly, so that when you realize it, it looks like your own fault. But heaven saw the meeting before it began. The moment their thought turned against you, protection activated. Every plot that begins in darkness eventually suffocates in its own shadow. The countdown to their exposure has already started. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. You were never chosen to live quietly, you were chosen to reveal hidden intentions. People forget that presence is protection, and your presence carries authority they can't imitate. Each time they mention your name in manipulation, energy returns to sender. Each time they try to block your progress, the same door opens twice as wide. What they call the plan is actually prophecy. They are unknowingly positioning you for elevation. Your guardian moves near, not with sword, but with mirror. Every deceit reflects back to its source. Stay calm. They're falling into their own design. Soon, you'll notice slips in their control. They'll talk too quickly, reveal too much, contradict themselves without realizing. That's the weight of consequence settling in. Lies, when carried too far, begin to leak truth. When it happens, don't gloat, observe. Heaven fights your battles through exposure, not explosion. The silence you keep now is louder than argument. You don't need revenge, you need readiness. Because after they crumble under their own illusion, opportunity will stand exactly where their scheme failed. That's how divine balance works, it turns betrayal into blueprint. Behind the scenes, destiny rearranges the stage. Conversations shift, alliances flip, and the one who tried to push you out begins losing ground. Their confidence fractures because truth requires no rehearsal, but deception needs constant maintenance. You, however, stand unshaken. Your energy no longer reacts, it observes. You start to see through tone, through silence, through smiles. Awareness becomes armor. Your guardian ensures that nothing meant for harm can bypass recognition. Every attempt to isolate you ends up isolating them instead. The plan collapses, not through confrontation, but through inevitability. A turning point approaches. You will receive a message, an invitation, or a sudden opening that leads you away from the chaos. Accept it. It's not escape, it's repositioning. The universe is moving you to higher ground where sabotage cannot breathe. The ones who plotted will watch in disbelief as grace replaces their gossip. Their own words will testify against them in front of the same people they tried to influence. Nothing humiliates deceit more than truth revealed naturally. Your rise will not need announcement. It will simply happen, quiet but undeniable. Then peace returns. Not fragile peace, but grounded calm that holds its own power. The noise fades, the air clears, and even those who doubted you begin to feel the shift. They'll see that removal was never possible, because foundation built in light doesn't collapse, it transforms. Your guardian watches from the edge of dawn, whispering the outcome already written. Protection completed. Truth preserved. You will look around and realize you lost nothing worth keeping. The only thing that left was illusion pretending to be loyalty. And that realization, is freedom disguised as ending. The morning after their meeting feels strangely quiet. The air carries the weight of secrets pretending to stay hidden. Every sound around you, footsteps, doors, whispers, feels timed, rehearsed. They think they still control the stage. Your guardian watches from above, unseen but unblinking. Every move they make is being mirrored in the spiritual realm, every sentence replayed before higher judgment. The universe has decided to show you what masks look like when light touches them. It begins slowly. A slip of the tongue here, an unnecessary message there. Their confidence starts cracking under its own pressure. They don't know that the same energy used to betray is now revealing them. The downfall has already started, it just looks like coincidence. By midday, you'll sense a shift in atmosphere. People who used to avoid your gaze suddenly look uncomfortable. They've heard pieces of the truth leaking through the cracks. The story built against you is collapsing under the weight of its own exaggeration. Your guardian doesn't celebrate, they balance. They ensure that exposure happens through clarity, not chaos. Each false sentence dissolves into air, leaving the facts glowing too bright to deny. Those who once believed the lie will feel a quiet apology forming behind their eyes. You don't need their confession. Their change of energy is enough. At sunset, a conversation finds you, unexpected, precise. Someone involved in the plan reaches out, voice trembling with unfinished guilt. They try to explain that things got out of hand, that they didn't mean it. But you already know. The dream warned you. The signs confirmed it, the silence protected you. You listen, calm and distant. Forgiveness doesn't mean returning, it means releasing. As you breathe out, you feel the entire scheme collapse in the unseen. What once tried to remove you now removes itself. Your guardian closes the invisible file marked threat neutralized. Night arrives cleaner than it's been in months. The air finally feels honest. Doors once closed to you begin opening again, this time without interference. The positions they wanted to steal begin to crumble in their hands like dust. What was meant to exile you has become your proof of endurance. Heaven rewrites destiny quietly. You were never being kicked out. You were being cleared out, moved away from environments too small for your next growth. Sometimes protection feels like rejection until truth finishes its sentence. Your guardian whispers into that calm, shift complete. Stay grounded. Days pass, and the world starts aligning again. New alliances form, genuine, humble, transparent. People begin to approach with sincerity rather than curiosity. They sense what light feels like when it refuses to dim. They also sense that you cannot be manipulated anymore. Every conversation becomes shorter but deeper. Every decision moves smoother. You've stopped chasing explanation, clarity arrives uninvited. That's what divine vindication looks like, elegant, not explosive. The same tables once used for plotting are now empty. Silence fills the chairs where envy used to sit. The final revelation arrives quietly. The person who started it all faces their own mirror. They see how every deceit echoed back, amplified by intention. They finally understand what you learned long ago: no one removes a soul anchored in purpose. They can only remove themselves from its presence. Your guardian stands behind you as the dust settles, wings folded, gaze steady. The lesson ends where gratitude begins. What they meant for loss has turned into direction, what they meant for humiliation has turned into honor. Peace doesn't chase apology, it simply arrives and stays. The next dawn feels lighter than any in memory. The sun itself seems to linger, almost protective, as if congratulating you for not breaking character when the script turned dark. You realize now that grace doesn't shout, it simply outlasts everything else. Your guardian whispers one last assurance before fading into morning light. They tried to move you out. Heaven moved you higher. And with that, silence turns sacred, and every shadow finally understands who was truly protected all along. The day opens without warning, quiet, golden, strangely calm. The same streets that once carried tension now feel wider, as if the air itself made room for your new rhythm. Nothing dramatic happens at first, peace arrives disguised as normal life. Your guardian stands just behind that stillness. Every detail has been rearranged, names shifted, schedules rewritten, timing perfected. Where sabotage once plotted, opportunity now waits politely at the same door. Destiny has repainted the scene without making a sound. When people greet you today, they hesitate for a second. Something in your energy reminds them that truth survived. They can feel that the old story has expired. You don't need to defend yourself, the air already testifies. By afternoon, patterns start reversing. A place that once rejected you suddenly calls back. An invitation appears from a voice that had gone silent. The current moves fast now, washing away everything built on falsehood. Your guardian adjusts the flow so blessings arrive in sequence, never chaos. Every act of malice left a vacancy, heaven fills each one with purpose. The position they wanted to steal becomes your platform for grace. What was meant to push you out has become the staircase up. This is divine irony at work, quiet, absolute, irreversible. Evening brings reflection. You stand where pain once stood and realize the storm was never punishment, it was proof. Without that pressure, hidden strength would have stayed sleeping. Now it wakes fully, steady and bright. Your guardian whispers through the wind, hold posture, not anger. And you understand, the true victory is composure. Nothing humiliates darkness more than calm that refuses to collapse. You walk through familiar spaces feeling unfamiliar power, forgiveness that doesn't need witness, clarity that doesn't need explanation. That's the fragrance of freedom. Later, the same person who planned your fall starts watching from a distance. Their confidence falters as reality flips its script. They see doors open for you that shouldn't have existed, hear your name spoken with honor in rooms they can't enter. It's not revenge, it's revelation. Your guardian keeps the exchange silent. No need for confrontation, only contrast. Light exposes motives simply by existing. They will realize that removal was never possible, you were written into structure itself. The attempt to erase you became the reason you're remembered. Days pass, and momentum builds. You wake with ideas that feel delivered, not invented. Support appears from unexpected corners. Every hour feels rehearsed by something benevolent. Grace has entered efficiency mode, no noise, just results. You begin to understand the secret rhythm of justice. It doesn't chase, it waits. And when it moves completely. Your guardian calls this phase redirection. All lost ground returns multiplied, all confusion returns clarified. The story they wrote ends here, the one heaven wrote begins. Night falls, softer than ever. You exhale once and feel the weight leave completely. What tried to evict you has been evicted instead. Silently, lawfully, karmically. You don't celebrate, you rest. Because peace itself has become your proof. Your guardian stands at the window of your soul, watching the glow settle in. They whisper one final line into the hush. Every plot was permission for purpose. And somewhere beyond sound, destiny nods in agreement. What was planned against you has already graduated into favor that cannot be undone. The morning carries a strange glow, the kind that follows a storm that never quite touched you. Streets glisten, the air hums softly, and every shadow feels less like threat, more like testimony. The storm did its work, it revealed, then left. Your guardian watches from the edge of light, silent and satisfied. The trap meant for you has collapsed into its own emptiness. The very ground they wanted to take has lifted beneath your feet. Balance has changed owners. You walk differently now. Calm isn't a performance, it's your new gravity. People feel it before you speak, something steady, unmovable, quietly radiant. By midday, the first public shift appears. A message arrives, short but undeniable. The place they tried to take from you is reopening, but under your direction. No negotiation, no pleading, just realignment. The same system that once judged now adjusts. Your guardian nudges timing so that every witness is present. Grace wants to be seen, not to embarrass, but to educate. The universe teaches through demonstration, and today it teaches loyalty's reward. You don't speak of justice, you embody it. Meanwhile, those who conspired begin to drift apart. The unity of deceit cannot survive truth's climate. One withdraws, another over-explains, a third pretends confusion. Their story fractures like glass touched by sunlight. You remain silent, the calm center in a collapsing storm. Every breath you take sounds like proof that peace wins without audience. Your guardian shifts energy quietly, making sure you see but never absorb the fallout. This is elevation without noise, your trademark now. Evening draws in, slow and golden. You return to familiar spaces and find them cleansed of tension. Where eyes once watched with envy, they now glance away with shame. The same walls that echoed whispers now vibrate with respect. Heaven doesn't humiliate, it reorders. The difference is subtle but eternal. Humiliation ends stories, reordering begins them. You were not meant to conquer people, you were meant to outlast patterns. Your guardian's voice brushes against your thoughts, stay kind. The lesson is bigger than the moment. You nod internally. Understanding replaces reaction. The next morning, opportunity multiplies. Projects that once stalled reopen like locked doors remembering their keys. Resources flow, connections strengthen, and peace becomes productive. It's not a comeback, it's continuation after clearing. You see now how protection sometimes disguises itself as loss. Every delay, every silence, every rejection was a negotiation you couldn't overhear. Heaven was trading smaller stages for permanent ground. Your guardian stands with folded wings, a quiet smile forming. Their job shifts from defense to celebration. They speak softly into the wind, now walk without fear, the lesson has graduated into legacy. Night arrives gentle. No tension, no noise, just rhythm. You sit beneath the same sky that watched you through struggle, and realize it looks brighter now because your eyes finally match its peace. You understand that the plan to remove you was never about you, it was about refining what you carry. The plot was the polish. And now, you shine without trying. Your guardian's final whisper seals the night. They planned your exit. Heaven prepared your entrance. The lights dim, the air stills, and destiny exhales in completion. The attempt to erase your name has become the reason everyone remembers it. The next dawn breaks in gold so soft it feels like mercy. The air carries none of yesterday's noise, it carries recognition. What once hunted you now stands still, unsure how to breathe in a world that finally favors truth. Your guardian waits at the boundary between shadow and sunlight. Nothing about their stance says war anymore, only fulfillment. They are watching the prophecy of patience come alive, and the view is flawless. Every seed of integrity you planted is sprouting at once. The ground beneath you hums. It knows who survived. By mid-morning, the shift becomes public. Voices that once whispered suspicion begin to speak your name differently, carefully, almost reverently. The same tone that spread doubt now spreads credit. Heaven has a way of changing vocabulary without argument. You do not need to announce victory, atmosphere already does it. People sense alignment when it walks into a room. Their hearts correct themselves before their mouths can form apology. Your guardian ensures grace handles the timing so humility remains untouched. Justice works best when it looks like peace. In the afternoon, a new door opens, not loud, but certain. The opportunity feels familiar, like something promised long ago finally arriving on schedule. When you step through, everything feels measured to fit you exactly, the space, the energy, the potential. You understand instantly that this is not reward, it's restoration. What you lost was never stolen, only stored. Heaven returns things in perfect condition, untouched by betrayal's fingerprints. Your guardian watches with quiet pride. They whisper, this is why silence was sacred. Evening brings the moment no one expected. The main architect of your downfall appears, not with arrogance, but with exhaustion. They look smaller now, carrying the weight of consequences they built themselves. You meet their eyes and feel no anger, only distance made of wisdom. Forgiveness slips out effortlessly. You don't speak it for them, you speak it for equilibrium. The instant you release resentment, the last chain breaks. Their power dissolves into lesson, their memory into meaning. Your guardian nods once. Freedom confirmed. Days move forward and everything simplifies. Conversations become clearer, choices lighter, life quieter but deeper. Success follows naturally because resistance no longer defines you. People mistake it for luck, but it's architecture, destiny rebuilt without cracks. Your guardian shifts from presence to partnership now. They no longer hover, they move within intuition itself. You think, and timing responds. You rest, and progress continues. That's what alignment feels like, movement without motion. Peace has become productivity. When night arrives again, the sky seems closer. The stars pulse in rhythm with your breath, glowing brighter every time gratitude rises. You realize that the entire journey, the betrayal, the plotting, the silence, was choreography designed to teach endurance without bitterness. Heaven never wanted to test you, it wanted to reveal you. The conspiracy was simply the mirror that showed your real reflection. Your guardian's voice folds into the wind one last time. They planned your removal to prove your root. And with that, stillness replaces story. The lesson ends where destiny begins, and the calm that remains is the crown you never asked for but always deserved. Morning light stretches through your window like an old friend returning home. The air is gentle, warm, aware of something larger taking shape. You can feel it before you see it, that quiet shift when destiny stops whispering and starts acting. Your guardian stands in the glow, no longer fierce but calm and patient. Their wings pulse faintly with gold, each beat releasing another layer of assurance into the room. What was once defense has become direction. The world that tried to remove you is now busy clearing your path. Nothing about this is luck. It is alignment. The timing you thought failed you was only waiting for the stage to be worthy of your light. By noon, movement begins everywhere. Messages arrive. People you never expected to speak again suddenly reach out. One conversation folds into another until patterns appear, doors opening not by favor, but by recognition. The ones who once looked down at you are now trying to match your pace. You do not chase, you simply walk. Grace has its own gravity. Your guardian arranges the rhythm behind every meeting. They keep you invisible just long enough to protect the process, visible just long enough to collect the reward. Balance perfected. In another part of the city, the one who started the plan feels the walls closing in. Their own alliances have dissolved, their charm has lost its shape. They look around for someone to blame but find only mirrors. The silence that once protected their schemes now amplifies their regret. Heaven never forgets design. Every deceit eventually trips over its own blueprint. You, however, are no longer watching from a distance. You've stepped into a different timeline, one built on awareness instead of anxiety. Their lesson continues while your story evolves. Your guardian simply says, do not turn back, forward is safer. Evening comes with celebration disguised as calm. Nothing flashy, just peace that refuses to leave. Work flows easily. People listen differently. Ideas once ignored now carry weight. You are walking through answered prayers that have matured into opportunity. This is what real elevation feels like, effortless motion, quiet confirmation. The more you relax, the faster grace operates. You no longer push, you allow. Your guardian moves beside you like rhythm behind melody. Their wings leave trails of light in every decision. You don't announce success. You breathe it. As days pass, the transformation becomes visible. Your environment changes to match your new frequency. Healthier spaces, clearer voices, steadier mornings. Even the way time feels has altered. Hours stretch just enough for you to complete what once felt impossible. The universe has recalibrated itself to your peace. What once delayed now delivers. What once resisted now assists. Everything understands its place again. Your guardian watches with quiet pride. The plan that tried to erase you has become the curriculum that shaped you. Nothing was wasted, every moment was conversion. Night returns, soft and safe. You step outside, and the air carries traces of rain mixed with light. The sky itself looks cleaner, as if heaven washed it in gratitude. You remember the tension, the fear, the betrayal, but it doesn't sting anymore. It feels distant, almost unreal. Because the pain has turned into proof, the darkness into definition. Your guardian's whisper glides through the quiet. You were never being pushed out. You were being positioned above. The wind shifts gently, and every shadow bows out of your path. The story has completed its arc. You were not removed, you were revealed. And now, your calm becomes the lesson others will learn from when their storms arrive. The sun rises slower today, as if the light itself wants to witness what comes next. The silence before dawn feels charged, filled with recognition instead of worry. Something deep inside you understands, this is not the same world that tried to break you. Your guardian moves quietly, wings half folded, carrying no weapon now, only blessing. The space that once felt hostile now bends to your calm. Every object, every breath, every sound seems to echo one truth: you stayed, and staying rewrote the script. You stand where they thought you would fall, and that stability hums louder than applause. By midday, the evidence appears in plain sight. Opportunities begin to overlap, people who avoided you now compete to stand close. Their tone has changed, not from fear, but realization. They can feel that the current of favor has shifted permanently. Your guardian orchestrates the rhythm of these moments like a quiet composer. Every introduction leads to expansion, every coincidence hides intention. You are no longer fighting for place, you are being placed. Destiny is arranging itself in open daylight. Meanwhile, the architect of the old plot faces the echo of their own design. Meetings fail, promises dissolve, supporters drift away without reason. They are learning the lesson heaven reserves for arrogance. The moment you try to remove light, you remove the reason people can see you. Your guardian doesn't rejoice in their fall, they preserve compassion around your heart. True victory is grace that refuses to harden. You won, not because they lost, but because you didn't become them. That difference is everything. Evening arrives, painted in amber and blue. You sit quietly while new messages arrive, offers, acknowledgments, unexpected gratitude. The air carries a rhythm that feels permanent. Nothing forced, nothing stolen, everything earned through endurance. Your guardian steps closer for the first time in weeks. Their voice is calm but firm. This was never about survival, it was about visibility. And you understand, the attempt to erase you was the mechanism that made you unforgettable. Heaven uses opposition as highlighter. Night deepens. You breathe in peace that doesn't depend on circumstance. The room glows faintly from nothing visible, it's the aura of completion. You remember every moment of doubt, every conversation that tried to shrink you, and feel gratitude instead of anger. Because now you see the pattern, removal always precedes revelation. Every rejection redirected you toward alignment. Every silence was an agreement in disguise. Your guardian folds their wings and watches the horizon. The war for your place has ended, the building of your purpose begins. Before sleep, one thought surfaces and stays. You were never out of place, you were the place. Every circle you enter adjusts to your frequency. Every plan that once excluded you now depends on the light you carry. The one who plotted has faded into history, but your presence remains, steady as prophecy fulfilled. Your guardian's final whisper closes the night. They planned your ending. Heaven planned your beginning. And somewhere between silence and dream, the universe repeats the same line in its own language, soft, endless, certain. You cannot be removed from what was written for you. The final sunrise feels weightless, as if the entire sky wants to apologize for the nights it allowed fear to speak louder than faith. The first breath you take carries stillness, the kind that means nothing left to prove, nothing left to defend. What tried to move you has moved away. Your guardian stands close, wrapped in calm light. No armor, no urgency, only completion. Every vibration around you hums with confirmation. This chapter wasn't survival, it was preparation. The world did not change, you did, and that was enough. Destiny now recognizes you as fluent. By noon, messages arrive, one after another, effortless. Not random, rhythmic. A flow that feels rehearsed by heaven itself. Projects bloom, allies appear, doors stay open longer. What once felt delayed now arrives in perfect time. You see their names sometimes, the ones who plotted your exit. Their paths have scattered into silence, each living inside a lesson only truth could write. You wish them understanding, not harm. Their chapter served purpose too. Your guardian murmurs softly, forgiveness seals freedom faster than justice. You listen, and peace stretches wider. As evening glows, you stand where everything began. The place once heavy with suspicion now feels lighter, honest, almost sacred. People speak carefully, their tone softened by what they've witnessed. They realize now that light cannot be evicted, it expands. Your presence itself teaches quietly. No anger, no performance. Just steadiness that turns space into sanctuary. Heaven's reward is not revenge, its relevance that doesn't fade. Your guardian's eyes gleam like reflection over water. They whisper, "You are not proof of victory, you are the design of resilience." Night descends like silk. You sit under the same sky that once watched betrayal unfold, and it feels different, closer, warmer, familiar. The stars seem to rearrange around you, forming patterns shaped like closure. The message is clear now: every fall was positioning, every delay was redirection, every loss was rehearsal for restoration. You were never removed, you were refined. The dream that once warned you has become the reality that protects you. When sleep approaches, it feels less like escape, more like continuation. The air carries the sound of your guardian's final words, woven through the rhythm of your breathing. The storm did not end you, it introduced you. You smile without moving. The story has come full circle, and you realize there was never an enemy, only catalysts wearing temporary faces. The lesson lives quietly inside your strength now. Every time the world tries to push again, it will only reveal how deeply you're rooted. The night exhales one last time. Your guardian steps back into light that looks like memory and leaves you with the sentence that began everything. They plan to remove you. Heaven wrote you permanent. And with that, silence closes the book. No aftermath, no echo, just peace stretching into forever.